So I'd heard it was kind of, I was in Sydney 2 days ago. I looked it up, and then I thought, well, obviously this is in lira or pesos or something. These are not real numbers. And I was like, well, it is the Australian dollar, and so I got my little calculator out and did the conversion rate. And even after discounting by whatever, 25%, it was so much more that I could afford, and I have a decent job. I was like, how does anybody live here? How does the average Australian making, I don't even know what your average wage is, 100 grand, something in that range-ish? No, that's too high? How do you live here? I mean, that's like, exactly. So then I asked someone I was traveling with, your housing prices, and not just on Sydney Harbor, but just like normal houses, far from Sydney Harbor, are so expensive. How does anybody live here? And this person said, well, increasingly they don't. They have to leave. A lot of homeless people all of a sudden. I said, that sounds like a crisis. Why is it happening? Well, one of the reasons it's happening is a principle we call supply and demand. And when there's a greater demand for something than there is a supply, the price rises. And that is purely a matter of population. If you have more people than you have houses, guess what happens to housing prices? They rise. This is the most obvious principle in nature and real estate. And so if I'm running a country, one of my top concerns is making sure that young people in their, say, late 20s, early 30s, can afford a house. Because my main goal is to create households and a new generation of Australians or Americans or Kiwis or whatever. And so if it becomes too difficult, too expensive for your children to buy a house in the country they were born in, you're erased. That's it. Your line ends. And that's what's happening. You see it in the birth rates. This is true in my country, too. This is not lecturing you. I'm watching this happen. And in Canada, it's completely out of control. So why is it happening? Immigration. There's only one reason. That's the reason. And nobody wants to say that because it sounds like an attack on immigrants, which, and by the way, that's how they get you to shut up. Shut up, racist. Okay, got it. But I'll just speak as honestly as I possibly can. The last group I hate are immigrants. I actually really like immigrants to my country. I'll just say my country. And we've let in 30 million illegally in the last 4 years. That's more than your entire population. So that's a crime. That's the greatest crime in American history. It totally destroyed my country. But I'm still not mad at the people who came because I would too. That's how I feel about immigration. You're coming to my country because you think it's the greatest in the world? Well, we're in agreement on that. I'm flattered by immigration, by the desire of people from around the world to come to my country. I would want to go there also. It's like people saying your wife is hot. Yeah, I think so. Thank you. You can't have her, but I'm glad that you noticed. So there's not an attack on immigrants. They always try to make it about immigrants. Oh, you're attacking immigrants. No, I'm attacking you, actually. I like the immigrants. I don't like you. And the reason I don't like you, leader of my country, is because this policy is making it impossible for our children to live here and to have the lives that we provided for them. Not, crazy fancy lives, but like a middle-class house with 3 bedrooms on a quarter acre. Is that too much to ask? It shouldn't be. Especially in a country the size of a continent where nobody lives in the middle of it. It's like a donut. It's bizarre. I flew over it. There's nobody here. So all of a sudden, if your children can't afford a house here, then you have one person to blame, and that's the people who run your government. And by the way, nobody does, because you're not allowed to. And by the way, in Great Britain, for example, Canada, for example, your closest cousins, your parent and first cousin, people go to jail for noticing. You literally go to jail. You don't like what the government's doing to you? Shut up, racist, and you go to jail. They send people to jail. UK, they send people to jail every day. And not for standing in, Hyde Park and screaming, but for writing it on Facebook. So imagine a government that totally destroys the country, which is criminal behavior, and then criminalizes complaining about it.